Today is Monday, August 14th. We have new information about the catastrophic wildfires in Hawaii that have now become the deadliest in modern American history. Also, new developments in the criminal cases against both Hunter Biden and former President Trump. Plus, the potential pros and cons of a big new investment in carbon removal technology. Why Amazon wants to deliver your goods without a box, even if it means your neighbors see what you ordered. And if you're not getting enough sleep during the week, can you make up for it on the weekends? Those stories and more next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Well, sadly, the wildfires in Maui, Hawaii have become the deadliest American fires in more than a century. At last check, at least 93 people have been confirmed dead so far, and officials say the death toll will rise even more. Days after the fires broke out, K-9 teams have only been able to scout about 3% of the disaster zone, in part because many of the structures that did survive are considered unstable. But also, dogs sniffing out the area need breaks, especially in extreme heat. Though more federal emergency workers and active duty military personnel are headed to Maui now to help with the search and rescue effort. Thousands of survivors are now living in shelters. Many others are either staying with friends or in tents on beaches and parks. Hundreds of buildings were destroyed, and the vast majority of them were homes. Hawaiian Governor Josh Green says the fires have caused an estimated $6 billion worth of damages. Meanwhile, there are questions coming up about how so many lives were lost and so much damage was done. 3 law firms filed a class action lawsuit against Hawaiian Electric, saying the destruction could have been avoided if the utility company de-energized its power lines ahead of high winds, though the official cause of these fires is still under investigation. In response, the company says it can't comment on the lawsuit and that right now they're focused on getting power turned back on for thousands of customers who have lost it. It's also worth mentioning there are 80 warning sirens placed around Maui, but none of them were activated as the fire spread. And now investigators are trying to figure out why this system failed. There have also been some questions over the response that's still underway. Some Hawaiians have told news crews that government agencies have blocked roads leading to the hardest hit areas. And that's apparently keeping aid and donations from getting to those who need it most. So with that, people in the area say they're finding relief in each other. Church groups, community organizations, and other volunteers have been flying in and boating in supplies and driving people to shelters or homes. In the meantime, Hawaii officials are telling tourists to avoid traveling to Maui in the coming weeks, since many hotels and Airbnbs are prepared to host evacuees and first responders. Though there are still ways for people off the islands to help. Organizations like the Red Cross, Maui Strong Fund, and Maui Food Bank are accepting donations now. We'll add links in today's episode notes. There is now another special counsel working at the U.S. Justice Department, this one leading the investigation into Hunter Biden's business dealings. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, David Weiss, to the position. He was actually first appointed as Delaware's U.S. Attorney by former President Trump and has been overseeing the Hunter Biden case since Trump was in office. But now, as special counsel, he can actually press charges anywhere if he feels it's warranted, not just in Delaware. And once his investigation wraps up, he'll have to release a final report to the public. At one point, some Republicans were actually calling for Weiss to be named special counsel. But he also faced backlash when he announced a deal with the president's son to give him probation only for tax and gun charges. Well, that deal has since fallen apart, and Hunter Biden is likely to have to go to trial instead. But still, some Republicans now say Weiss can't be trusted. And investigations are still going on in Congress as a way to present all the facts to the American people. Well, speaking of criminal investigations, a judge made a decision about how much information former President Trump will be allowed to share in a federal election interference case against him. The judge granted a protective order like prosecutors wanted, but she decided it will only cover material the Justice Department designates as sensitive. Meanwhile, the former president is expected to face his 4th indictment this week. Those charges are thought to be coming out of Atlanta, accusing him of trying to overturn his 2020 loss in Georgia specifically. So stay tuned. Republican presidential candidates were out campaigning at the Iowa State Fair over the weekend, but former President Trump put on the biggest spectacle. As Florida Governor Ron DeSantis started greeting potential GOP voters and taking part in fair events, Trump's private plane circled overhead several times. He traveled to Iowa with members of Congress from Florida who have decided to endorse Trump over their own state's governor. And flyers were passed around to say DeSantis would be, quote, an utter catastrophe for Iowa. Then Trump gave a speech. The rivalry between Trump and DeSantis is really heating up. DeSantis this week unveiled negative ads against the former president, and aides from both sides have been feuding online. But it's especially noteworthy in Iowa, since the state starts the Republican nomination process with its caucuses in January. And with Trump and DeSantis as the two frontrunners, they did get the most attention, though other GOP hopefuls were there as well. In the fight against climate change, the Biden administration unveiled its biggest moves yet to actually suck carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. And that's big because carbon dioxide is heating the planet more than any other gas. The Energy Department announced it's supporting projects in Texas and Louisiana that are supposed to remove more than 2 million metric tons of carbon emissions a year. That's equal to taking nearly 500,000 gas-powered cars off the road. And the projects are going to get $1.2 billion in federal grants, which the Energy Department calls the world's largest investment in this field. Critics, though, say the technology to remove carbon dioxide that already exists in the air is just in its infancy, so the funding would be better spent on cutting emissions. But supporters say cutting emissions won't be enough, and to really take advantage of direct air capture in the future, we need to invest in it now. White House officials say they're hoping to prove this technology will be a game changer and then that others will follow in their footsteps. All right, we have more news for you coming up. But first, thanks to our new sponsor, Nutrafol. I've actually been using Nutrafol for almost 2 years now, so long before they became a sponsor. And I started because a good friend, as well as my own dermatologist, both recommended it to me when I was noticing some hair shedding a few months after giving birth. Well, I'm so glad they did. My doctor and I both noticed decreased shedding and improved hair growth after taking Nutrafol postpartum. It's a daily hair growth supplement OBGYN formulated for women in the first year after giving birth. And I really appreciated that I could take it while also breastfeeding. And because I've had such a good experience with it, I've now continued to take it and switched to Nutrafol Women to continue to improve hair growth and just support visibly thicker and healthier hair. No matter your life stage, Nutrafol has 4 unique formulas to support women. And I love that each one is physician-formulated using 100% drug-free, medical-grade natural ingredients. So take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering the Newsworthy listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code Newsworthy. So find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol, Nutrafol.com with the promo code Newsworthy. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Newsworthy. If you are a frequent Amazon shopper, you're probably very familiar with those brown boxes printed with Amazon's black arrow and logo. But you might actually start seeing fewer of them. Amazon says it's trying to get rid of extra packaging, or at least cut back on it when it's not needed. So a new TV, appliance, or even a box of trash bags could just appear on your doorstep as if you pulled it off a store shelf in its regular manufacturer's packaging. Amazon told the Wall Street Journal 11% of its packages are already sent like this, and it wants to increase that percentage this year for the sake of more efficient deliveries, lower costs, and with less waste, less of an impact on the planet. But some customers do worry it will only encourage more package theft, especially on those high-priced items. And others say they would be embarrassed if their neighbors saw everything they were buying. To that, Amazon says customers will always have the option to add Amazon packaging to their order if they want it for no extra charge. It just won't be the default. The man at the center of the largest cryptocurrency bankruptcy is now back in jail. We're talking about Sam Bankman-Fried, who is sometimes referred to as SBF. Remember, he's the founder and former CEO of the crypto trading firm FTX, and he's awaiting trial on fraud charges. For the last several months, SBF has been under house arrest at his parents' home in California. But on Friday, a federal judge said that arrangement would have to end, accusing him of trying to influence witnesses who are poised to testify against him. He was handcuffed and taken to jail, where he'll stay until his trial in about 2 months. SBF is pleading not guilty. Well, some not great news for those of us who don't get enough sleep during the week, but try to make up for it on the weekends. A new small study found when someone only gets about 5 hours of sleep a night, their heart rate and blood pressure worsens as the week goes on. And then researchers found getting 10 hours of sleep on Saturdays and Sundays doesn't really return those health measures back to normal. One of the authors of this latest study says that's even the case if you're young and healthy, that enough hits to your cardiovascular health when you're young could make you more prone to cardiovascular disease in the future. She points out that sleep also impacts our weight, mental health, ability to focus, and many other things. Her study was small, though, so more research is likely underway. But it does back up what we've known for a while. The CDC recommends adults get at least 7 hours of sleep a night and to stick to a regular schedule if you can. For the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, some of the genre's biggest stars came together for an epic 8-hour celebration in front of nearly 50,000 fans in New York. The lineup for Hip Hop 50 Live included artists like Ice Cube, Lil Wayne, The Fugees, Snoop Dogg, Nas, Lil Kim, and many, many more. The night ended at 2 a.m. with Run DMC in what they say was their last performance after 40 years together. MLB All-Star Derek Jeter also made a surprise appearance, saying he wanted to celebrate the last 50 years of hip-hop while also looking forward to the next 50 years. If you want to watch the celebration, you still can. We've included a link in today's episode notes. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, this episode is brought to you by Miracle Made. Did you know that your temperature at night can have a huge impact on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding. My husband and I have them on our bed all summer long, and we are loving them. And by the way, that silver-infused fabric is not only great for thermoregulating, it also prevents up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, so they can be cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. Go to trymiracle.com/newsworthy to try Miracle Made sheets today. And if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo Newsworthy at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you aren't 100% satisfied, you will get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/newsworthy and use the code Newsworthy to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/newsworthy to treat yourself. Okay, now back to Money Monday. So we've told you eating out in restaurants is getting more expensive. But that's not the only option if you don't feel like cooking. The Wall Street Journal reports grocery chains have now been revamping prepared meals in delis and buffets. Many of them are expanding their menus and offering more discounts in an effort to offer potentially cheaper, faster alternatives to traditional takeout. It seems shoppers are on board too. One research firm found sales of prepared meals in supermarkets grew 8.3% over the past year. Some restaurants, though, have noticed this new competition and say they're not worried. Executives at the parent company of Chipotle, Domino's, and Taco Bell say they have a new strategy as well, offering new menu items that they say would be tough to replicate at home or in the grocery store. And other chains like McDonald's and Denny's say they don't expect to raise menu prices any more than they already have. So either way, it seems you now have more and more options for eating out. All right, thank you so much for listening today and every day. We'll be back with much more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.